this video we will investigate worship in Judaism, in particular in relation to the synagogue. Jewish people worship one God, with whom they believe they have a special relationship. All aspects of life are an opportunity to worship God, by showing God love and obedience. This means that worship happens throughout all aspects of life, from the home to the synagogue. Certain objects help Jewish people to focus their attention on God, and are used in worship. Although all Jewish people believe that worshipping God is important, there are different ideas as to how worship should take place. The two main branches of the different understandings are Orthodox Judaism and Reform Judaism. Jewish people must pray 3 times a day, ideally in the synagogue. The most important day of worship is Shabbat. In the Orthodox tradition, the Torah is taken literally, and Orthodox Jews believe they should preserve traditional worship based on God's instruction in the Torah. Hebrew is the language of the scriptures, and therefore the language of worship. Men and women sit apart to avoid distractions. Only men are rabbis. No work can be done on the Sabbath. Singing is unaccompanied. On the other hand, in Reform Judaism, many traditions are retained, but Reform Jews want to make it relevant to modern-day life. They believe the Torah is the inspired word of God, therefore it is the spiritual and moral code that must be obeyed, not each individual law. It is acceptable to change the way God is worshipped to adapt to modern life. Men and women sit together for worship. Reform Jews may travel to the synagogue by car on Shabbat. The service may be led by a female rabbi. Most parts of the Reform service are in the language spoken by worshippers, and singing is often accompanied by an organ. The word synagogue means bringing together, and is the name given to a Jewish place of worship. Synagogues date back to at least 560 BCE, when the Jews were in exile in Babylonia. Many Orthodox Jews call the synagogue shul, which means school, and shows that it is a place of learning about faith. Many Reform Jews call the synagogue temple, as it is a replacement for the temple in Jerusalem, destroyed in 70 CE. Orthodox Jews believe that the word temple should be reserved for the temple that will be rebuilt in Jerusalem when the Messiah comes. One role in the synagogue is the gabbai, or the person who organizes Torah readings, and stands with the reader to ensure they pronounce the words correctly. The synagogue will also have a board of directors, made up of members of the community. As well as worship in the synagogue, there will also be Hebrew classes for children who are preparing for their bar or bat mitzvah, discussion groups for members of the community, adult education programs, youth clubs, and other groups, celebrations, and community support. There are no rules about what a synagogue should look like on the outside, but it often has symbols which make it recognizable as a Jewish place of worship. One of these is the menorah, a 7-branched candlestick. The menorah design was given to Moses, and it represents the idea that Jewish people are to be a light unto the nations, quoted from Isaiah. The Star of David is another symbol used. It is a 6-pointed star, which is supposed to represent the shield of King David, considered to be one of the greatest kings in the history of Judaism. The 2 triangles are inseparable, and some Jewish people believe that this represents the relationship between the Jewish people and God. Some scholars have suggested that perhaps one triangle points up towards God and the other down towards earth, representing the struggle Jewish people have between worldly events and God's expectations. Synagogues may also have stained glass windows, which may have colorful patterns or pictures. However, humans would not be represented on these windows, as this would break the 2nd commandment, not to have idols. The symbols of the menorah and the Star of David can often be found in stained glass windows. The prayer hall in the synagogue has no set shape, but is usually rectangular, as this is suitable for worship. The focal point of worship is the Aron HaKodesh, the Ark, which always faces towards Jerusalem. No representations of people are allowed within the synagogue, as this would break the second commandment not to have idols. There will be a seat for the rabbi, and a pulpit from which the sermon can be given during Shabbat worship. The prayer hall is sometimes called the sanctuary, which was the holy place of the temple in Jerusalem, although some Orthodox Jews do not agree with making a comparison between the temple of Jerusalem and today's synagogues around the world. The Aron HaKodesh is the central feature and the focal point of worship because it is where the handwritten Torah scrolls are kept. It is sometimes raised as a reminder that God is above people, so people must go up towards God. The Ark represents the Ark of the Covenant, which held the 10 Commandments in Moses' time. The 10 Commandments are often written on stone tablets near the Ark. The Ark is only open to take out a scroll during worship. The Ner Tamid is an eternal light that burns at all times in front of the Ark as a reminder that God is eternal and ever-present. It is a reminder of the 7-branched candlestick, or menorah, that was always kept burning in the temple. A menorah may also be present. The bema is a raised platform from which the rabbi leads the service, and from which the Torah is read. Some believe it is a reminder of the altar of the temple. It is usually placed in the center of the hall and becomes the focal point of worship once the Torah has been removed from the Ark. These 3 symbols are found in both Orthodox and Reform synagogues, as both traditions regard them as important in worship. The main difference between Orthodox and Reform synagogues is the seating areas, as men and women are not allowed to sit together in Orthodox services. There will be a separate seating area, often a balcony, for the women. Married women will cover their heads in the synagogue. The Reform synagogue will have a seating area that can be used by both men and women, and it is not essential for married women to cover their heads. Reform synagogues may use microphones, but Orthodox services on the Shabbat will use no electricity because of the prohibition against the use of electricity on Shabbat.